Hello everyone, it's Jessica Michaels here with another Color Rush Studio design team project for you today using the gorgeous November kits. And I pulled out this kind of candy stripe looking paper from the kit here. I have the main kit, the bold kit, and the acrylic kit all. I'm kind of combining everything today. And I just really loved sections of this and I wanted to kind of tone this paper down just a little bit. So I'm taking my X-Acto knife and my cutting mat here, and I'm just trimming away certain sections out of this paper. This is something that I do often whenever I have a really busy paper like this that has stripes or anything like that, that I can cut it apart. And sometimes I'll put it back together and just distress the edges, do some machine stitching. I'm going to do some machine stitching on this and distress the edges, but I'm not going to put these sections back in. I am going to leave them out and just tone it down a little bit by using a white background paper behind it. So I'm basically just cutting out these sections and kind of muting the design a little bit and toning it down a little bit for my liking, because sometimes these pattern papers for me are just a little bit too loud for my particular style. And I'm not a big Christmas scrapbooker. You guys know this. So I really have to tone this stuff down. But I really like the colors in this Hard Candy Christmas line by Simple Stories. That's part of these kits. And I just really like the colors in this. They're not your traditional just red and green colors. They have some pinks and reds. Well, they have reds, but different shades of reds is what I'm trying to say. And they have different shades of greens as well. So they've even got a little bit of blue kind of thrown in here too. So it's really nice, and it's not your typical Christmassy red and green that's super bold. So I really like this collection, and I was excited to get to play with this. I've got some more plans in mind as well with this for my project for next Friday. And I'm always on Fridays for Color Rush, so you'll typically see these videos on my channel on Fridays. And I've got another one planned for next Friday already as well. And here is my paper just coming back in after I have distressed the edges. I'm going to go ahead and do some machine stitching on this as well and add some white thread to this. So here you can see I did that off camera, so you didn't have to watch me sewing all of those little pieces. And all I did was I just sewed a few little lines across each of those sections, if you will. And I just created a little bit more texture with some zigzag stitches and regular straight stitches. Then I've got my acrylic piece here from the acrylic kit that I'm using today. It says Christmas Crew. I thought that was very appropriate for my photo that I'm using today, which is a photo from Christmas of 2023, I believe this was. And it's of my mom, myself, and my sister, all in our nice green Christmas outfits, which is just quite funny because we didn't really plan this. We all just kind of dressed up and color coordinated, but it was totally not planned. And we don't always dress up for Christmas. It just happened this way. So it was super funny. And I'm like, we have to get pictures of this. We have to document this moment, right? So I am adding one of my favorite things, which is stamping, to this one. I've pulled out some stamps by Ellie's Studio, and I am just using some of these word phrases from my stash here to stamp on the outside edges of these little paper strips. And I'm just using the same curve as my paper and just sticking with that same design. I do have a little space there, so I kind of leave that bare. I'll fix it at the very end because I actually kind of forgot about it as I was doing this layout. And I knew that I had to look for a small word to go in that little space because I just kind of stamped around and skipped some spaces and didn't really go in order. So I knew I needed to find a stamp for that spot, but I come in at the very end of this video with that one. In the meantime, I did cut out a little border piece for beside my photo on this right side using a die from my stash by Hey Little Magpie and my manual die cutting machine. I was kicking around where I wanted to add the title, so it's going to move around a little bit in this video, but I knew I wanted to add some trim in here too, just to add another little pop of color and interest, and of course some more texture, because that's something I love on my layouts, is just for different types of textures. So these little trims that come come in the kit are just perfect for adding to your layouts around photos or around little border pieces like this. So I'm going to actually pop it in the top as well, so it kind of looks like it's flowing throughout the layout and it adds a little bit more balance. And then I have some more stamps here that I am going to add up on that little piece. I didn't add it around all of the edges of my papers, but I just wanted to kind of create a little stamped feature just on a couple of those strips. Kind of like what I did with the trims as well. So I'm just adding it right here to just create some balance. Since I added it on the left, I'm going to add it on the right too. So it looks like it's just flowing throughout the layout. And that's really the only trims I'm going to add to this. I'm going to leave it alone as far as adding any more trims. I'm going to go ahead and grab some of my 3D foam tape here and just add to the back of my photo so I can pop this up off of my layout. The stamp inks that I'm using today are, the black one is Intense Black by Honeybee Stamps, and then I'm using a Distress Oxide in Candied Apple for the red. It was like the perfect shade of red to go with this Christmas layout today. And then I've got the die cut pack here. I've got 2 die cut packs that I've pulled out from the kits and the sticker sheet as well. So I'm just going to use these to embellish around my photo and just kind of throughout the layout. I really like those little stockings, so I wanted to make them look like they were hanging off of the top section there. So I'm going to pop them up with some 3D foam squares and put them on the top right of my layout. And I wanted to add some layers on the top of my photo as well, because I'm used to adding a ton of pattern papers or layering behind my photo. I left this one alone, just matted with some white cardstock because it was so colorful already. So I'm just going to lightly embellish it instead versus putting a bunch of pattern papers around it. So here's my stockings and my 3D foam squares. Just going to pop these up using some of those and make them look like they're hanging off of that trim. And that's pretty much all I'm going to do to those. I'm going to leave them alone. And then I'm going to grab a few more embellishments. I'm going to grab a couple things from the sticker sheet here. I'm going to add some gold splatters at the end of this. So I really like these little ribbon candies that are on the sticker sheet as well. And of course, one of my favorite things, these little word phrases that are always at the bottom of the Simple Stories sticker sheets. I love those. They're so good to just scatter around your projects, on your scrapbook layouts, travel notebooks, memory planning, anything like that. They're so good for that. I went ahead and glued down my acrylic piece. I like to use the Deluxe Nouveau adhesive for that because it does dry clear and it dries pretty fast. So you don't have to hold it down for a really long time waiting for your glue to dry. I have my little houses there. I just thought were so cute on the top of my photo, so I went ahead and put them up there. And I added my ribbon candy. I just used it right next to that acrylic because it's just super cute. I had to pop it on here somewhere, and that's kind of where it landed. And then this little acrylic star comes in the kit as well. Wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. And then I thought, you know what, that looks really cute up there on that stocking. So I'm going to go ahead and add it up there. And then just pop a couple stars down here. I do fix the one because it was a little crooked. I wanted it kind of staggered from the other one. So I did fix it a little bit. And then I added another one up there. And I'm just digging through here, seeing what else I want to add. And I really loved this little ornament hanging off of here. So I just added that to the bottom. And let's see, what else do I grab here? Oh, this little candy cane. These are like little foam candy canes and candies. They're super cute. And then here I'm just going to finish this off with some gold splatters. So I just take the nozzle out of the splatter bottle here, and then I just kind of flick it on to add those splatters. This one's by Kaiser Craft, and it's the color Gold Mist. And then that's pretty much going to do it for this one. Here's my stamp coming in to finish that off. And then there's the finished layouts. I'm going to link the kit down below in case you guys want to grab any of these kits from the Color Rush Studio shop. And as always, thank you guys so much for being here, and thanks for watching. And thank you so much for all your sweet comments. They totally make my day. So I hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.